Okay, you probably have seen the news up to this point. You know that starting from 2028, PlayStation is going to stop the manufacturing or production of physical media. And 3 days have passed already, and people still have an itch about it. I still have an itch about it. I'm pissed, but I also wanted to provide a very polite and insightful thought, like a video thought or a video, unscripted video about all the things that I think about and all the repercussions. Why? Because these things will not only affect like physical collectors as a whole, but it's going to affect digital collectors, is going to affect studios, companies, and even PlayStation itself. I mean, its reputation has been to the ground lately. And this has been, if not one of the worst decisions that I have ever seen in the game industry in decades, like literally. Like remembering the days in the PlayStation 4 E3 2013 where they just like praising the idea of sharing a physical game to your friend. We knew it was going to happen, but there are little tidbits that makes you think that PlayStation kind of doesn't care about fans whatsoever. And starting with the publication they released in PlayStation Blog, which is the way that many of us find out, it was a written article. It wasn't like it felt like a punch to the gut to fans, expecting to like a better explanation between like a video, a conversatory or a conversation between fans and the company and having like an image about it. No, the same way as Microsoft uh, was waiting for E3 to end, the same way Sony waited for that moment to drop all the trash to fans. And it kind of felt a bit offensive to let us know that physical media is ending on an article with no notice, with no. Why is this so important for for everything? I'm gonna divide this into three parts. First, for fans or players. Second part is going to be companies and retail stores and even producers and the executive board. What were the thoughts that they might be into on deciding the cease and desist of physical games? And the third part is going to be developers, because even indie games and people that haven't even released their digital game are going to be affected by this. And just spoiler alert, I don't see the point of owning a PlayStation 5 these days, to be honest. But let's start with this. Why would you announce this as an article? No expectations, nothing whatsoever. I only have like this unscripted notes, so let's see how it goes. Um, I mean, why are they risking this sort of small premium gap of players that are going to eventually invest on the company regardless? Like, historically speaking, the digital sales market has been like dominant ever since the beginning. And there has been like way like for many years people have discussed like the end of the physical media as we know it, blah 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 blah. No? So, and also if we take a look at the sales, the digital sales versus the physical sales, it always like year on the year basis is going to be like, it started like a 30-70, goes to 50-50, up to these days they recently show like a like a statistic where they show 85% of sales were digital, where 15% of the sales are physical. Like let's be honest, like of those 85% of digital sales that they are mentioning, they have to remember that those are indie games, middle tier games, microtransaction games, those Fortnites, those Call of Duties that have their seasonal passes, blah blah blah. Those are the sales that they don't compare to the little amount of physical media that is available to PS5. So it's not a fair comparison in the first place. There's a very particular value that loses in this generation, and it's the interaction between human to human. Probably you already heard about this. Like, the best way to approach people is by networking. It's super cheesy. I know you already heard it in work, but that also applies in real life. Those moments when you enter a video game store, or hell, a supermarket, even back home. I remember like some phone stores that actually sell video games as well, because they know they sell pretty well. And having an interaction between the seller and other people that were next to you, face like looking at kids buying their games, because let's be honest, kids these days, with all the control and surveillance media, they couldn't even have a credit card or a debit card in the first place to own like their digital games, and their accounts are super locked in. So yes, there's a giant wall that PlayStation didn't even thought about it. Like, okay, now as a kid, I'm not going to or a teenage, I'm not going to buy a physical game now. I'm gonna keep playing Fortnite. Do you want me to now take care of God of War when I can just play like Minecraft or the Call of Duty I have like 5 years ago? I'm not gonna buy any games already. What's the point? And having said that, there's also like this particular special meaning to share games. For instance, like, well, many of you know that I already live in South Korea, and these were all the games that I could ship in. I know it's difficult, you know. There's a point there in digital media that you I don't need to worry about like carrying my digital media in my moving back to South Korea, but at least I know like this has like an emotional and also monetary value. It's more difficult to take that decision whether it is a digital product. A digital product, it's over there. And investors and probably companies don't know. Like all they want to do is to reduce the gap between your credit card and their data center. That's all they want right now. The social experience of buying the game, it's gone. It's literally gone for everybody. When you go to a shopping mall, especially at least back in Costa Rica, was one of the many reasons to go to a shopping mall aside from watching a movie or pay your debts, because yeah, there are banks in freaking malls in Costa Rica. Those were the only reasons where you have to shop by. Now the reasons are reduced. So meaning that they have to invest triple or double to make more discoverability in video games. Even studios, but I'm going to jump into that later. And also, they say 85% to 15%. Well, guess what? If we're going to believe leaks, thanks to the 2023 Sony Games data leak, we have Sony's internal physical versus digital splits for its third first-party games. Remember where everyone was pissed because they got offended because we knew about the budgets of their video games. Like in 2026, they were not speaking about the budget of their video games, where every single movie have the liberty to do so we can understand what's the process, the creative process behind it. Anyways, that's a different story. But due to that leakage, we know that God of War Ragnarok sales 76% were physical, Marvel Spider-Man 2, 54% were physical. Ghost of Tsushima, 51% were physical. Uncharted 4, an estimated of 83% of digital copies. Now, if we can compare that to the top 15 most sold video games regularly on a monthly basis on PlayStation, it's nothing compared to the third parties like Roblox or Minecraft or Call of Duty, you know? Of course not. Like, whenever Sony Games releases for the year, it barely stays in the top 10. But even that, if you take like this percentage of players that have bought physical games and put it like in the total PlayStation 5 sales, it's going to be around maybe 20%. So you're risking to lose your base audience in 20%. That doesn't make sense. It's like this World Cup that is happening right now. Only the premium or the most elite people that can be able to purchase the tickets to watch the matches. It's as if you're taking away that opportunity for them. And it's like, okay, just then you're losing more money because buying a physical game is not cheap. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's a good investment because you can rebuy it to other people. You can resell it. Sorry, you can resell it, and it none of that makes sense. If you check the PlayStation Store, guess which is one of the most sold like accessories, gaming consoles overall. It's the disc drive. How can you lose, I don't know, 20%, so to speak, of your base audience? No. Let's say that you're only a digital fan. It's like, oh, whatever, that doesn't affect me. Yeah, it's okay. I'm still gonna buy the next God of War game and then Wolverine and digital, whatever. Cool. Honestly, what does the PlayStation 5 offers to people? Think about it. Between Steam and PlayStation Store, who do you think which is the best one? Do you think PlayStation Store has a refund policy of all your digital games? Do you think that you will have a continuity of the video games that you purchased on PS4 and PS5 for the PlayStation 6? Because in PC you can do that. I can play video games from 2004 on my current PC. I can download previous updates of games so I can just play the original backup update of any specific game. Cyberpunk is the perfect example. I pick a copy of the original PS4 Cyberpunk, which by the way was banned, was removed from the store. And if I want to play that pristine, shitty copy regardless, it's a shitty experience, but I can play it. I can go back to the previous versions. Even hell, even in GOG. GOG is even superior to Steam because in GOG at least you have complete ownership of your game, and you can even burn it on a Blu-ray disc and all the pre-install on a disc separately. There you can play the previous versions of Cyberpunk if you want to. You can play the previous versions of Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 3 has changed drastically, and there's a lot of people that like the vanilla version. There's people that like the fully released version when it was released on consoles, and other than the latest update. You don't have that on PlayStation Store, man. Like, you have to conform with the latest update, no refunds. It's going to be a monopolized market because there is only one market there. There is no regulation with the market. Like, PlayStation regulates the market for you, and you don't have a choice. Like GTA 6, you will make sure that GTA 6 will cost $80 forever. There is no way for you now that you are going to get GTA 6 for less than that. Why? Because there will not be any physical copy of GTA 6. Why would you care to buy a PlayStation 5? In fact, why would you even care to keep the PlayStation 5? You can just jump into PC. End of story. That's it. because there's a lot of advantages. There's modding. I forgot to mention modding. You have modding on PC. There's no need to stay on PlayStation 5 whatsoever. And and they expect you to keep paying the PlayStation Plus. Why? You already released most of the PlayStation catalog in there. I know they make this shitty move of removing like multi-platform releases. For example, Wolverine is going to only release on PlayStation 5, and probably God of War La Fey is the name. Is going to be released only on PlayStation 5. I know that. But let's talk about retails. Retails are going to be gone because what is left is going to be over expensive to regular buyers that they're not gonna care on opening a store or reopening a store after a crisis whatsoever. So it's going to be critical and very, very hard for them. Now I can jump as gaming studios in this case. Why would I care to ship my indie game? Why should I risk to port that game on a platform that is so overly like closed? Right now I need a publisher. If I'm an indie developer, I need a publisher that helps me to publish my game. So that means extra $1,000. That means extra effort, and I need to communicate between the publishers and the indie developers as well. So why should I waste the time on a lesser digital store than Steam or GOG or hell even Nintendo, because Nintendo still has physical and digital? Why would I care? This is the point where I want to finish. Before 2028, governments or regulatory consumer like entities from every country, they need to do something with digital ownership before we lose everything. These companies investing in the cloud, in AI, in data centers, they want us to not own anything, so they control the market. So we don't have the right to actually sell the things that we already own, so we don't share it to people. In fact, if we cross a little bit to the movie and the music industry, it's a different kind of horrible nightmare too, because in YouTube or in social media, you can even like make your own edited video or professional video with your favorite music or your favorite movies. You cannot have like, oh, this is the movie that I like. No, I need to do it in a story, a screenshot, something that is not appealing to people. The less options that I have to share this media to people, it's less opportunities for them to make a sell. They were wondering, oh, why these movies fail so much? Why people don't go to the movies? Why people don't buy this video game? Why people don't buy this music? It's because there is no availability for them to actually share it. That's the main point. Don't close people on not owning their stuff. Make regulatory policies of the video games, the music, the movies, digital music, video games and music that we already own, and have them make their rights that I can own it without having to pirate, or I don't know, put a policy that forbid us to pirate those three digital formats, but let us own it somehow before we lose everything. And that's all I have to say. I don't know what else is left there, but I'm not in a good mood with this. I'm super sad that it's happening right now. There's also right in the corner about 3,600 layoffs from Microsoft. And it's a similar situation where I cannot handle this, but 100% I can handle data centers and AI, even if the bubble is going to start to burst. Like, how would you feel if the best things that you love are taken away from you, but you still have to pay for that? Will you keep paying for that? They made a whole effort on this thing that many people don't know that we're going to lose.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.